A very good morning to all. In the last class, we started with the chapter Body Movements. We learned about movement and we learned about human body and its movement. So this class, we'll be discussing about human skeleton and parts of human skeleton. So starting with human skeleton. So what is skeletal system? The human skeletal system is a framework of bones. So as we have discussed in the last class, the human body has an internal skeleton that is made up of bones. This human skeletal system is made up of bones and cartilages. Cartilages means the connective tissue that is present in our body. So if we have no bones in our body looks shapeless. So it is the skeletal system that gives structure to our body. Right. It gives shape to the body. So the human skeletal system is a framework of bones. The adult human system is made up of 206 bones. How many bones? 206 bones. So there are 206 bones in the adult skeletal system. The child is born with more than 300 bones. As the child grows up, what happens? These bones fuse together. So the adult human skeletal system is made up of 206 bones. So skeletal system is a framework of bones and cartilages. Then the bones inside the body are arranged in a definite manner. So there are different bones in our body and these bones are arranged in a definite manner that gives structure to the body. These bones are hard from outside. That is, they are very hard and rigid. And what about the inner portion? The inner portion of the bones are filled with bone marrow. And the bone marrow produces WBC, that is the white blood cells, and RBC, that is the red blood cells. The bone marrow produces WBC and RBC. My question is, can a person live without bone marrow? No. A person cannot live without bone marrow because the bone marrow produces WBC, that is the white blood cells that fight against infections, and RBC, that is the red blood cells that carries oxygen. So the bone is hard from outside. It is hard and rigid. The inner portion of the bones are filled with bone marrow that produces RBC and WBC. Another important thing is that the bones meet at a joint. That is, the area in which two or more bones meet, that is called joints. So we have many joints in our body. The area in which two or more bones meet, that is called joints. And the joints consist of cartilage. So cartilage, it covers the surface of the bone at the joint. Then there are strong flexible tissues called ligaments that hold the bones together at these joints. So it is the ligaments that hold the bones at these joints. So the area in which two or more bones meet, that is called joint. It consists of cartilage and ligaments hold the bones together at these joints. So that is about human skeleton. It is made up of 206 bones. The human skeleton system is a framework of bones. Now let's discuss about the functions of skeleton. The three main functions of skeleton. Let's see the first function. It works as a support structure for our body. So it is the human skeleton system that supports the body. It gives shape to the body. So we all can stand erect, right? How is it possible? That is possible because of the internal structure in our body. That is because of the skeletal system. So it is the skeletal system that gives a structure to our body. It gives a shape to the body. That is the first main function of skeleton. The second one is it protects the internal organs of the body. So the skeletal system protects the internal organs, heart, lungs, brain. So all these internal organs are protected by the skeletal system. The third main function is it helps body to move. Can we all move? Yes. We all can move from one place to another. Even we can move different parts of our body. So, skeletal system helps in locomotion. So, this internal structure that is present in our body helps us to move. If we don't have a skeleton in our body, can we move? No. We cannot move, not even crawl. So, it is the skeletal system that helps us to move. So, these are the three main functions of skeleton. The first one is it works as a support structure for our body. The second one is it protects the internal organs of the body. And the third one is it helps the body to move. That is, it helps in locomotion. The human skeleton is made up of the following parts. So let's discuss the parts of human skeleton. The first one is the skull. The skull is the topmost part of the skeleton. The bony framework of the head is called the skull. The head is protected by the skull. The skull is the topmost part of the skeleton. The skull is made up of cranial bones and facial bones. In the cranial region, there are 8 bones, and in the facial region, there are 14 bones, together 22. So the skull is made up of 22 bones. The cranial bones, they are hard and they are extremely strong and they are immovable. These cranial bones are attached together by sutures. So sutures are immovable joints. So we know that joints mean the area in which 2 or more bones meet, that is joints. So immovable joints means joints that do not allow movement, that does not move. So sutures are immovable joints. So the cranial bones are attached together by sutures, and sutures are immovable joints which does not allow these bones to move. So cranial bones are immovable. These bones do not move. They are fixed. In the facial region, how many bones are there? There are 14 bones. So the upper jaw and the lower jaw is part of the skull. The bones in the upper jaw, it is fixed. That is, it is not movable. It is fixed. Then the lower jaw, it is movable. So that is why we are all able to eat, we are able to talk, etc. So in the facial region, how many bones are there? There are 14. The upper jaw and lower jaw is also the part of the skull. The bones in the upper jaw, it is not movable. It is fixed. The lower jaw is movable, that enables us to talk, eat, etc. Then it is the skull that protects our eyes, ears, tongue, etc. So that is about the skull, the topmost part of the skeleton, that is made up of 22 bones. 8 bones in the cranial region and 14 bones in the facial region. Moving to the next one, that is the vertebral column. Have you ever felt a bone that is running from the base of the skull that continues till the hip? That is your backbone, or the vertebral column, or the spine. So we all are able to bend our body, right? We all can bend our body. How is it possible? That is because of this flexible column of bones. That is the vertebral column. Vertebral column forms main stem of the skeleton. It is the main stem of the skeleton. We all are able to bend our body. That is because of this flexible column of bones. That is the vertebral column. So the vertebral column is S-shaped and it consists of 33 small bones. It consists of 33 small bones. And what do we call it as? We call it as vertebrae. So this 33 vertebrae together form the vertebral column. And the vertebral column protects the spinal cord. It protects the fragile spinal cord. So that is about the vertebral column. So all the bones are connected by cartilages and together it forms a cavity, and this cavity protects the spinal cord. So that is about the vertebral column. It is the main stem of the human skeleton. So today we discussed about the human skeleton and we discussed about the three main functions of human skeleton. Then we discussed about the two parts of human skeleton, that is skull and vertebral column. In the coming class, we will be discussing the rest of the parts of human skeleton. So we will meet in the next class. Till then, thank you.